it's in the moment, I thought this video I'd like to discuss with you what happened a year ago on April the 6th, 2024, because I feel this may give you a taster of what is to come, provided you have reached your optimum vibration. So the experience was middle of the day, in the middle of more than just a grocery store, because there's car accessories, you can buy washing machines, cookers, whole aisles devoted to pet toys and collars for dogs and cats and things, a whole section for toddlers, clothing I think as well. So more than just a grocery store. Now imagine if you've ever experienced panic attacks or anxiety, imagine getting the whole lot thrown at you in one massive hit. See, all the experiences that you've been through are leading somewhere, so that's a really bringing it home. That experience really did. The situation at the time was, it wouldn't just be drawing unwanted attention and possibly there'd be paramedics who've done whatever procedure, which I wouldn't be conscious and know about, because getting that almighty hit in one go was a sensation of I'm going to faint. And it's like, you can't faint. There's more to this, that it would disrupt the plans and the day of others. It's like a stone that creates ripples that goes out. So it's like you have no choice but to overcome this hit. You've got to get through this. And I did manage to push through. What came to me was, this is a test. But it's what happened next was the strangest thing, where everything went more than white, it just went blank. The external senses, it's as if they switched off and then switched back on again. And in that fleeting moment, I was shown an awful lot, which was, there was further to come on the 9th. There was like a 3-day period, and in that period I was able to witness how to overwrite the script that's being presented from the external and edit it and then put it back out where it's been transmuted for a better outcome. And that was quite amazing. So the point is here that you've basically got 10 years in which to sort your vibration out, to get yourself on the optimum level, to let go of all doubt and fear. Now, many people have a fear of death because it is a one-way door. But what I'm suggesting, and what has sort of been shown to me from that experience and being able to push through and come out the other side of it, it shows how instantaneous the transition is going to be from this physical reality on this timeline. We're in a system called soul, which is sort of evident is the Earth isn't where it should be. It's sort of been captured by another orbit, which is a it's a false light. It's a carbon copy. So at the basis of all of it, there is a grain of truth in everything to find. What you actually be taking out of this experience is the ability to discern. That's what you're here for. This is why you're shown an opposite with CERN. Something to be concerned about. But when you can see that everything external of you is a script being offered for you to take that is trying to suck you into, it comes back to this Angelus Silesius quote: "Time is of your own making. Its clock ticks in your head. The moment you stop thought, time too stops dead." It's to do with the exiting of this reality, because you'll go so far internally inside yourself that you'll radiate out to such an intensity that it will change the external. You'll find yourself somewhere very different. To put it into as close as I can into physical terms, you will receive a crystalline body, which is totally translucent and transparent, but then it can be filled with different colours and it paints the picture from the inside that reflects out. And it's to such a degree that if you have that sensation of, in the moment, of what a fantastic song, I want to blast it out to the world and share it, because I wish everybody else to feel this from this song. In that reality, you will be able to do that, but the listener or the recipient of that may actually hear, if we put it into physical terms, a completely different song. And it won't matter if it's 7 minutes long or 3 minutes long, because the time has no relevance in that reality. And that reality is this nemesis universe that we're actually from, and what we're actually going back to, provided we are on the vibration. Because depending on what vibration you're on is what I've said in the last video. Do you want to experience the enforced slave labour in a gulag? And that being the high point of this soul earth reality. Because it is all a false light. You don't see light in this reality, you see illumination, and it is, as the name suggests, it's illumination. It's a carbon copy with basically a finite toner cartridge, which is not able to reproduce such crisp, clear images as that cartridge wears down. The same pattern as the cells in the body. Really, you just need to be able to keep the vessel going till about 2040. But we're in a realm that's finite, so if you consider it as the car is the representation of the physical body, there comes a time where it gets costly to maintain and it no longer serves. It becomes more trouble. Likewise with these physical bodies, but the expense is in the time it takes for the physical body to try and repair itself, because it's inbuilt in this reality with the clock ticking, as it were, which we know as aging. But what I'm suggesting is what you will experience is what I've said in previous videos. You will Mary Celeste out of this reality. You will ghost out of it, as it were. Because your frequency will be so different, so it will appear that you've just vanished. There's no negativity with that. And it will be conscious. See, in this reality, there are what are called retarded spirits that can only progress so far, and they follow that same pattern as the physical body remains in this reality, and they also remain in this reality. They're not part of this nemesis universe. If you want to know about the soul and the nemesis universe, I suggest you watch quite a recent video from Archaic's channel, because that will make it quite clear and give you an understanding of it. It's often said that this is an upside down crazy world. Well, from the perspective, if the nemesis plane and the orbit is on the horizontal, this is 75 degrees turned, which was reflected in that tarot cards reading I mentioned about seeing the letter C. To read that would be looking down and to the left as opposed to looking up and to the right, which is a metaphor to do with the alchemical marriage inside oneself. It's all about, I can't stress this enough, about doing that internal work so you can reach a point where you can sit in the discomfort. And yeah, you will feel it. A case in point, the other day I was listening to something on the radio, I think it was Mary Poppins soundtrack, and it's like, I really don't like this because I was in a shitty mood. I couldn't pinpoint why, and I thought it's probably just astrological influences, impulses coming in, and we just sit with it and we'll let something see how it unfolds. Well, this program was repeated, and I happened to hear it again, and because the mood and the internal feeling is different, it was tolerable. Although I still don't, personally, I don't like it that much. It's not my thing. That doesn't make it wrong. Somebody else may love it. But it was an interesting experience to be able to sit through the discomfort of it. Excuse me. Yeah, to sit through the discomfort of it and then hear it again, and because internally I was feeling different, it didn't have the same effect in such a reinforcing the negative way. I was able to sort of see it in a more neutral light, as it were. So going back to the experience of a year ago, that was basically where I transitioned from walk-in number 6 to walk-in number 7. Now, I'm not saying everybody is going to go through that. There is something in this physical play-out realm that this physical body has to go through on this timeline and has to look a certain age at a certain time. So that has to run. Think of it like a computer game where somebody takes control of the character, but then for whatever reason they can no longer do it, so a second player will then take control of that character. That's pretty much the way it works. It's the same as if you're the registered keeper of a car and then you sell it on to somebody else, it gets a different driver. It doesn't make me any more special, and certainly walk-ins can get stuck completing tasks of the previous walk-in, or the previous soul that occupied that body, the previous driver, as it were. So I'm here to see this through. As I mentioned on the previous video, there is an exit program, and it's a sort of conundrum because I can't actually prove it, and there is no need to prove it. To know it's there is one thing, but I don't need to prove it, because I'm more interested in proving this transition that's coming up in anything after the next 10 years. It will be phased, no doubt, and it will be a trickle. It won't necessarily be sudden with everybody exiting in one go. There will be a mass exodus seen in terms of the time scale in which it happens. But in the individual moment, it will happen in a flash, like this experience of where basically I came into this body at about midday on the 6th of April in 2024. Now, some of you may not believe that. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. I'm just giving you a personal testimony and trying to give an insight and reiterate that there is absolutely nothing to fear by anything external that is being presented to you once you know who you are. It's something I would recommend going to True Love channel, because Yolanda talks about this. The object is to find out the God you are. It's not so much as finding out who you are, it's the enjoying the experience of going through it, because that is something else you'll carry across as well. A recognition of your true self, which is revealed to you with that transition. I can't think of a more beautiful experience that doesn't actually happen that often. So why would you want to miss it? Why would you want to approach it in a state of fear? We're in a realm where everything is run on a business model. So if you have a product, if you can sell that product in multiple ways and increase your sales of the basic product, it's going to bring you greater wealth. That's very much reflected in this material reality. But what about in the spiritual sense? Because you'll be bringing yourself wealth. See, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. It's whether we can recognize it and see that it is not something harmful to us. It is all something for us to gain the experience, to gain the discernment, which then opens up in this beautiful unfolding of being able to see the contrast between the two in a realm that has a perceived duality to it. It has to find the balance between the two. It's about, in the spiritual terms, is often talked about being centered, about being grounded. That's basically what it's alluding to. It's not leaning too far one way, not leaning too far the other. Being able to stay in that center. Look at whatever, go with your internal feeling when you go to click on a video. If it feels there may be something to gain in it, then do listen to it. If not, then don't. You'll save yourself an awful lot of time that way. The more you do this, the better it gets, and it will validate itself to you, because you may find out about what was the content of that particular video that you may have clicked on, but then you said, no, the intuition is saying, don't bother with that. And you'll saved yourself your real currency, which is time. Time you could then devote to something else. It may be a different video. There may be something more in that is going to benefit you more, which will be tailored to your individual path. So it comes back to what I've said before about learning this internal language, learning what the body is communicating, and the dialogue that is going on within oneself. And you will, that cliche saying about the answers are all within, it will unfold for you and you will experience it for yourself. And through that, you'll see that this all makes sense. And it's quite easy, it's quite simple. It's just don't get sucked into anything external. Go in maybe as far as to see the patterns with things, because that's all you need to take from it. You're just looking for the blueprints. Because once you see the blueprint in one thing, you'll start to see the same blueprint in many other things. And that in itself will reveal a lot about any individual topic in its own right, and it will save you a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of mental energy that is being expended where it didn't need to be, that could have been put to a better use. So yeah, 1 year on, it's been quite a roller coaster ride, and it's been a beautiful experience this last year to look back over. And I can also use the duality of like, well, look what's happened, and look where you've got to from a year ago, and look the way it's going. Look at how it's unfolding, and just trust with that, because it's a lot of it is being geared up to what I've visioned. And it is done in a way that the conscious mind, myself, cannot understand, doesn't need to understand, because I can appreciate the workings of it and seeing it in action. And also taking actions that are going to bring certain things about. It's a beautiful thing, and it's like, well, if this things in this reality can be overcome here and shown to oneself, proven beyond doubt to oneself, regardless of what anybody else may think or their opinion about it, so all you need to do is prove it to yourself. And then consider what its counterpart is, how exponentially greater that could be. I feel if you weigh up the balance, the potentials of from the what ifs, imagine if it was like this, imagine if it was like that, it paints a beautiful picture that is worth pursuing. So it comes down back to that other salacious quote about you are free, you are captive, and you are bound all in one. There's still a duality to it. But wouldn't you rather be captive to something that is more beneficial to you, and in turn is more beneficial to everyone else around you? So I would be willingly captive to that. And it's done from a place of free will, it's done from a place of discernment. Because looking at the alternative, that doesn't seem to be such a beneficial experience. And as I said on the, it was a 2-minute 44-second short, it's been shown in a testimony. If you've got one household and the number of people in that household that felt this 7.7 magnitude earthquake, as opposed to one that's on a different vibration and slept right through it, was totally unaffected by it, I feel there, it, again, is a physical proof of it comes down to frequency. Think of the way I described it, your Mary Celeste. Well, the Celeste implies celestial. So if you have this intersecting nemesis universe that can come in, and there's an overlap in during the month of May and early November, there's doorways, there's transition periods, you can transmute. You may find the exit through that. It probably won't happen just yet, but 10 years from now and after that, and maybe even in the run-up to that, I feel it will start happening. And what a beautiful experience if it's just like that sort of reset of suddenly everything switches off and then switches back on, but in that instantaneous moment, you're actually shown a lot more that is almost indescribable, that will reveals so much to you, and it will unlock in you the ability to do what you really can do. And I'm sure you're going to surprise yourself when you unlock it. But it does come down to vibration and frequency, what you're emitting, depending on your thoughts, which have an effect on the feeling in the body, and that is then transmitted out. That's why there are all these stories. It's not that anybody can't manifest, but if they're not in control of that manifestation, it is like the sorcerer's apprentice. It's all right being able to switch something on, but if you then can't deactivate it, look at the results of that. That was a bit of a catastrophe, because it was dabbling without having sufficient discernment and knowledge of the potential of that power. That's why it's locked out in all of us until we reach a point that it can be unlocked, because you appreciate the immensity and the enormity of that power and the effect it can have if it's done in what you could say is a wrong way. So that really is all you need to do, is focus on that internal work. Get everything sorted out inside yourself. Everything else will then fall into place, effectively. It's not that difficult. What is difficult is the multitude of belief systems that have been put in place to stop you even looking for that, or being able to find that, but it is there to be found. And when you do unlock it, you are going to be amazed at how instantaneous it can be, and how it just comes in ways the conscious mind cannot anticipate. And you also see, we call it God, in action, in the unfolding of the events. There is like a hidden hand that's working, that is, the cogs are all being fitted. So for whatever you visioned, it is working for you, and it will be presented to you. So bring on 2040, I say, because 10 years can go by in an instant, but it can also seem like a long time. It's actually the right amount of time in which to harness these abilities inside ourselves that are going to pull us through the transition in this spiritual evolution. But obviously, if there's fear and there's doubt, and you place limitations, then you're just being your own gatekeeper, and you're firewalling yourself off from the potential of which would be enormous benefit to you, because it will be serving you. But if you deny that, then you're denying yourself. It comes down to that biblical quote, know thyself. So, as always, unconditional love to you all. I hope this has flowed well. I hope it has made sense. I hope it's got you to ponder a few things as a sort of introduction to don't see this as a negative to something. See that there is also a positive to be found in whatever you look at as well. But it's the weighing up inside that is the key to all of this. And where else would it be apart from right at the centre, the heart? That's where it all comes from. That's where it all goes back to. So until the next video, unconditional love to you all.